KUAM News brought to you by GTA. We start with you, Subway and Chili's Grill and Bar.
A common struggle is finding where we fit in terms of race and ethnicity. And I'm hoping that the name of the page gives off the message that you are perfectly fine just who you are.
Jian Joyner is Japanese African American and grew up on Saipan, her background serving as motivation to launch I Am Me, a campaign on Instagram celebrating multi-ethnicity and elevating diverse voices.
I feel that it's important to find like your clan or your tribe, your group, and to have that sense of belonging today. And it's something, that mixed race people like myself struggle with.
That struggle leading into action as protests across the country brought race in America front and center in various Black Lives Matter actions. The graduate student in social work who lives in Puerto Rico says those conversations became personal and something she's now studying at Temple University. She isn't new to advocating for social causes. She ran a community campaign in 2015, instilling confidence and educating young girls as Miss Northern Mariana Islands, and also worked as a crisis counselor. The page features intimate stories from people with multi-ethnic identities. It comes at a time when the U.S. Census reports that people who identified as multiracial grew from 9 million in 2010 to 33.8 million this year.
Because back home, I didn't really, race didn't seem to be such an issue. I just felt accepted. I just felt like that was my community and I was part of Saipan. Because I wasn't, of indigenous Chamorro or Carolinian ancestry, they still accepted me. It wasn't until, I still don't live within the continental US, but my school, the main campus is there. So it wasn't until I moved here and I started my master's that these conversations really started. And then I really started thinking more critically about my racial and ethnic identity.
It's a mixed experience, Amber Roberts shared on the page as someone who grew up on Saipan and now lives in California.
I think growing up in a place like Saipan that is a true melting pot, it is really common to see mixed folks. It really is common to see people who come from multi-ethnic households. And so while that was really normalized, I think that it was still difficult for many of us, and me especially, being someone who is Micronesian but also white, that I often was not necessarily accepted into either community fully, based on not only my multi-ethnic background, but also the way that I presented and looked. I was never enough to be Palau, and I was never enough to be white.
Jian hopes the page serves as a platform for proactive conversations.
From being under the control of various European and Asian powers to now being home to people from all over the world. So I find it important to know our histories and to also celebrate the positive aspects of our culture.
Tomas Manglona for KUAM News.